Well, welcome everyone to the State Advisory Council meeting for January. So glad to have you here. If you have not already done so, if you would kindly put your name and organization in the chat. Excited to see such robust participation for a day when so many people are off for the day or home with children. I think in our area, every school district canceled and some of our childcare programs canceled as well. So thank you all for making an extra effort for being here today. First up on our agenda today is Deputy Secretary Brown, who will talk with us about the 25-26 budget and some other items we have coming up.
Good. I had to look at the time. Good afternoon, everyone. I still think it's morning, so forgive me. Good afternoon, everyone. We had received this question around OCDEL's long-term and big picture goals, and I really just wanted to kind of level set on what OCDEL is and what it is that we're doing and what we're moving towards. So OCDEL is really responsible for implementing the majority of the Commonwealth, state, and federally funded early learning initiatives. This includes childcare licensing, capacity building, quality improvement, eligibility for subsidized childcare services, supports through home visiting, early intervention, birth through 3 and preschool EI, and then pre-K programs such as our Head Start Supplemental Assistance Program and Pennsylvania Pre-K Counts. The work of the office is really focused on increasing access to and a continuous quality improvement of services to children, including enhancing the qualifications of the early childhood workforce. You will find what our work is on both the DHS and the Department of Ed's website, but really just wanted to talk about what guides our work. And that is that the Child Care Development Funds plan, our state plan, and of course, our regulatory requirements. So all of our things that are outlined in statute. And we do that across subsidized childcare, early learning programs. There's regs for all of both pre-K counts and HISAP, and early intervention. These tools really help us set the priorities and direct our resources and make continuous improvements to access quality and stability for families, providers, and the ECE workforce. Through our partnership, though, with the Penn State research team, I'm really excited to say that we will soon have both our statewide needs assessment and our strategic plan that has systematically incorporated feedback from our office, our SAC members, and their networks. You all are the very people who really help to inform this work. And that is really what we take pride in through our role with the State Advisory Council on Early Childhood Education and Care, or all of you. But at the same time, we are operating with a broader policy context. And this is where things get a little challenging for our small program office that is the size of a little department. Governor Shapiro has been very clear about his vision for Pennsylvania, and that includes expanding access to high-quality early learning, including universal pre-K, and strengthening the childcare system as a critical infrastructure for families and the economy. OCDEL does not set this policy direction alone, but we do play a central role in building the systems, the capacity, and the quality needed to make that vision achievable over time. We are doing the work. OCDEL is doing the work to increase the access to quality early learning. We are having multiple projects which focuses on strengthening the workforce, improving our providers' sustainability, modernizing systems, reducing burden, and ensuring both the quality and equity is happening across all of our settings. Every initiative we are working on, be it workforce investments or regulatory modernization, quality improvement and financing strategies, is really part of a way of positioning Pennsylvania for a more accessible, affordable, and coherent early learning system. The concept of universal childcare or even universal pre-K is not something that OCDEL or myself can declare or implement on our own. This council, your council, the State Advisory Council on Early Childhood Education and Care, really plays a critical role in helping us stay focused, not just on compliance and operations, but whether we are truly moving towards a system that has better outcomes for families, children, and providers statewide. In 2025, OCDEL actually created a value statement that includes 6 key values, and they are collaboration, honesty, accountability, belonging, innovation, and inclusion. And I look forward to continuing to work with this council and the subcommittees to collaborate and have honest conversations that impacts OCDEL's work. The OCDEL team and I will continue to make connections clearer and do more to ensure that our strategies for the state's early learning work are aligned with what is needed in the field, but clearly sharing the policies and visions of this administration. I'll pause there in case anyone has any questions around that, but really just wanted to address that question since it was even something that we had to address during our 13 listening sessions that we did with the pre-K campaign a few years ago. All righty, I guess everybody wants to hear about the money. So after an extended impasse, I'd be remiss, I can't talk about the budget without acknowledging the impasse. A 25-26 budget was actually enacted on Wednesday, November 12th. But the administration does remain committed to supporting early childhood education opportunities for Pennsylvania's families. So just wanted to note a few budget highlights for our sector below. First and foremost, we have to focus on early intervention, birth to 3, which had an increase of $13.2 million to serve an estimated 5,400 plus children. This enacted budget does include a supplemental, a negative supplemental, reducing the total in 24-25 to 185 million. But 10 million in state funding will be combined with available federal funds to support a rate increase that I think our team will be making sure that that sector receives very shortly. For CCW, or our Child Care Works program, our child care services was level funded at $298 million to support subsidized child care services for low-income families. This money is also used to maintain the current service levels and continue supporting Child Care Works rates at the 75th percentile. The Child Care Assistance supports subsidized child care services for families receiving TANF, former TANF, and SNAP benefits, and that will also help to ensure that those rates continue at the 75th percentile. And then our newest appropriation is the Child Care Recruitment and Retention Awards. We'll talk a little bit more about those awards later, but that new appropriation is $25 million, and it enables our licensed child care centers that participate in CCW to give child care workers recruitment and retention bonuses of at least $450 per person. Child Care Works is also supported through federal funds, including our Child Care Development Block Grant, the Social Service Block Grant, and the Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or TANF, and it serves approximately 97,000 children across the Commonwealth. We also need to talk about evidence-based home visiting and family supports. Our community-based family centers had a level funded appropriation of about $34.5 million, and our nurse family partnerships actually had a decrease of $67,000, but the total appropriation for them was $13.9 million to adjust for an increase in the federal participation rate. These levels of funding will continue to serve approximately 10,000 children in our evidence-based home visiting programs. Alrighty. For our pre-K counts program, there was an increase of $9 million for a total appropriation of $326.8 million. $7.5 million will increase the cost per child from $10,005 to $10,750 for full-time slots, and from $5,250 to $5,375 for part-time slots. About $2 million will help to maintain all allocated slots and current service levels, and that program will serve nearly 31,000 children, because it's 35 children across the Commonwealth. The Head Start State Supplemental Program was level funded for a total appropriation of about 90.8 million to maintain the current service levels and serve more than 6,500 children. And for early intervention preschool, we had an increase of 28.5 million for a total appropriation of 453.2 million to serve 76,320 children across the Commonwealth. The enacted budget also includes supplemental funding of about 25.9 million, increasing the 24-25 appropriation to $424.7 million. And finally, we'd be remiss if we did not talk about our preschool development grant or Block grant. In December of 2022, we were awarded $16 million for the first year of a 3-year renewal grant. The federal award was issued to the Department of Education, and budget authority was initially established with the enactment of the 23-24 budget. And it was actually sustained through this year, 25-26. Planned activities included our statewide needs assessment and strategic plan, which will be coming shortly. I'm so excited. And it allowed us to maximize opportunities for parent and family engagement and supporting the workforce and enhancing our program quality. Are there any questions before I move to this one? So we got a lot of questions around the Child Care Recruitment and Retention Awards. And one of the questions was, how does this money specifically reach our frontline workers? Retention of the frontline workforce is one of the most critical issues that faces our system. It's how do we get the money out to the people that are doing the work directly. And just noting that these funds are going to the people that are doing this work. These new investments were intentionally designed to reach the workforce. Providers actually apply for the funds with their local ELRC, and then they can request the funds or the retention bonuses for all of their current qualified staff. As noted, the bonuses are a one-time $450, and the allocated funds can only be used for retention or recruitment bonuses of staff. Qualified staff receiving these awards are the frontline workers. They must be an employee at a qualified childcare provider who is responsible for the direct supervision of children at a minimum of 15 hours per week at the physical program location, or they can be an owner or operator if they receive this bonus if they directly supervise children at a minimum of 15 hours per week. The staff working in any of our early learning programs, so pre-K counts, Head Start, early Head Start contracted slots, are eligible to receive this bonus if they directly supervise children for a minimum of 15 hours per week in a DHS certified childcare location outside of their other program hours. So just wanted to pause there. Any questions? All right. Even though we are still living in in our new budget, or what feels like a new budget, we are getting ready for next year. So Governor Shapiro's 26-27 budget address will take place on February 3rd. And OCDEL has the very unique honor of participating in 4 budget hearings. So our DHS appropriations hearings will take place in the Senate February 25th and in the House March 4th. The PDE appropriations hearings will take place February 23rd and then in the House on March 3rd. I believe that's it. That's not made for me. Oh, it is made. Almost.
One more for you.
The CCDF funding. We have heard a lot of questions around some of the challenges that has taken place with our federal funding, particularly based off of the recent events that have taken place in Minnesota and some of our surrounding sister states. So I know folks were very anxious about what is happening here in Pennsylvania. There are no funding changes to our programs in Pennsylvania at this time. We shared that message previously. and informed our early learning resource centers and our childcare providers that they should continue administering childcare works in accordance with the existing OCDEL policies and procedures. We continue to monitor federal guidance closely and will communicate promptly and provide any clear guidance on any required actions when they involve all of you. Even if the defend the spend is what we've been asked to do, that's not a new obligation or a new requirement. We had actually been doing that with this, I can't call it new federal administration, but within this federal administration. And it is not an obligation or burden on our providers in any way. It is something that is handled internally with the Commonwealth and OCDEL. PDG, our preschool development block grant, actually had defend the spend requirements, so we were very familiar with this process. And we'll continue to do so to be able to do our federal drawdowns. For the Office of Child Care, OCDEL was already scheduled for federal monitoring the week of April 13th. So this was our scheduled time. This is not new. This was not something that we're being subjected to in this new administration. This is our time frame that we had known about in previous years. States participate in federal monitoring every 3 years to ensure that they're in compliance with the the Child Care Development Fund requirements. And OCDEL has participated or will begin participating in a series of prep calls. We actually had one today to gather our documents and finalize the agenda. It should be noted that this monitoring was scheduled shortly after our 2023 monitoring visit. It is not related to the recent scrutiny of childcare within this administration. So I'll pause there. I think I said a mouthful. I really do think that might be the end of my slides.
Yes, that was a lot. Thank you so much, Shantae. If there's any questions, please come off mute or add them to the chat. Otherwise, we're going to keep moving. We have a packed agenda. All right, next up, we're going to talk about a little bit of housekeeping for the State Advisory Council members and then move into subcommittee updates. So I just want to flag that this is for executive council members only. There is a requirement for exec council members to file the FFI annually. I did talk to Leah. She's already completed hers, and she let me know that it is much easier this year. So the recommendation is to file online, and I will also be sending with the minutes after this meeting the online filing instructions and a fillable PDF if you choose to not file online, if you'd rather fill out the PDF and mail it in. I'll send that information out again just for executive council members. And that SFI is due by May 1st. And now we're going to move into our subcommittee updates. So first up is access to programs with Adrienne Briggs and Shanna King. And Adrienne, you're up if you're here.
I am. I pushed Shane. I was on it, so that's why I was waiting. Good afternoon,
Thank you.
everyone. Okay, so our committee has been focusing on identifying and addressing barriers to family access to high quality early childhood education programs. And of course, my phone would ring at that moment. And the subcommittee aims to ensure that all children, regardless of their socioeconomic status, location, or other circumstances, have equitable access to programs that support their development and educational needs. So we have been working very hard. So with home base, it's been Janine and I, we're meeting monthly. And we have been working on, oh my gosh.
Oh, that's okay, Adrienne. I can support here because Janine was supposed to be here and unfortunately is dealing with a family situation. But she wanted to share the themes that have emerged from her work to gather input from family child care providers. And this feedback helps to support the homegrown grant that Janine manages. Thank you so much, Adrienne. I think that we switch over to the systems work group with Shanna. There we go.
Thank you. Good afternoon. For the systems work group, our project focus over the past 2 quarters, we have focused on sharing information about and gathering feedback on using Pelican Provider Self-Service, also known as PSS. For our goals of this work, we've been working to identify what is working well with the system. We've identified areas for improvement, and we've been working to explore strategies to increase provider awareness and use of provider self-service. For stakeholder engagement, we've met with Trying Together out in Allegheny County to review the Allegheny Child Care Finder. This helped us learn how the system supports families and providers, and we gained insight into a comparable system model. We conducted provider engagement and feedback activities. We reviewed current features and functionality. We learned how providers currently use provider self-service and identified features that may be underutilized. We also discussed potential opportunities for enhancement. For key themes, this includes utilization of Pelican Provider Self-Services features for capacity, vacancy, and wait lists have been low, and if increased, we could improve Compass. Also, for opportunities for Pelican Provider Self-Service could include, we would like to highlight and communicate its benefits, evaluate possible changes to increase mobile usability, improve navigation and readability, and streamline user login and access processes to make those easier. For system next steps, we'd like to continue our research and stakeholder engagement, develop recommendations based on our findings, and communicate with OCDEL leadership as part of the Pelican steering team to plan for and prioritize system changes, such as change control and governance process. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanna. And Marcia is out today, but Shantae, did you want to pop in on the internal process?
I just really wanted to, first of all, I wanted to thank the Access to Programs group for this work. And I do know that they have been providing some ongoing feedback and really putting a lot of time and feedback into this work. And I did not want that to go unnoticed. And Marcy is out today, and she was really going to talk about like how change works in our system. It's not something that takes place pretty quickly. We actually have like a change process where you sit down with the team and really talk about those processes and flesh them out, because change does usually come with some dollar amount. And so really sitting down and talking about what that looks like for the system, that's our next steps. That's our plan. We are committed to improving our systems. We understand that there are some things that we'd like to see our systems do, and some feedback that we received about the ongoing need to be thoughtful around what's needed for our providers and our systems. And we are committed, certainly committed to doing that work. So just really wanted to preface that here, that change is going to take a little bit of time, but we are committed to doing that work with all of you.
Awesome. Thank you, Shantae. All right, that sums it up for access to programs. Next up is Jennifer Lisa.
Good afternoon, everyone. So the Child Care Certification and Quality Rating Subcommittee focuses on enhancing the standards, processes, and systems that govern child care certification and quality improvement across the state. The subcommittee aims to ensure that child care providers meet quality standards, align with best practices, and provide safe, nurturing, and educational environments for children, while also reducing provider burden and improving relationships between certification representatives and providers. So I have a very short update for you because due to the holidays, we kind of missed a couple of meetings. However, in July, the work group drafted questions for the quality coaches to answer during their Quality Coach Connections call. We did receive that feedback and have a work group going through the feedback to determine what next steps can come from what we've learned. In October, the subcommittee met and discussed creating a work group to provide feedback for a new project that the Bureau of Certification is doing, the Regulatory Compliance Guide, that will come out with the new regulations when they are eventually approved. We sent out an interest request form and are in the process of gathering who would like to be a part of that work group. And while we wait for that project to get off the ground and for those interest forms to come back, we will be discussing regulatory burdens for providers and what we can recommend that will help to lessen some of those burdens. The goal of this next, next meeting is to really see how the feedback can influence how we prepare the compliance guide and write it for providers when it is ready to go out. And that is really all I have for now. Like I said, it's kind of a quiet couple months.
Thank you, Jennifer. All right, I believe Physical, Behavioral, and Mental Health Subcommittee is up. And is it Stacy or Brittany?
It's me. Hi. Hi,
Awesome,
everyone. I'm
thanks.
Stacy Kenny. Brittany is in clinic today. So she'll be on later, but couldn't be on right now. I'm Stacy Kenny. I am Division Chief with the Bureau of Early Intervention Services and Family Supports, and also co-chair of this subcommittee. So we've had a lot going on in the past couple of months. First off, the Early Childhood Comprehensive Systems Advisory Committee, or ECCS Advisory Committee, is an ad hoc committee of our subcommittee. So wanted to give some updates from ECCS first. That grant ends July 31st, 2026. It's a 5-year grant, and it went by really, really fast. So we are waiting for some updates from our federal funders about future iterations of this grant, and hopeful that there will be future iterations of this grant, because they've done some really wonderful things for families in Pennsylvania by increasing access. The ECCS team is having a family leadership conference in March. It is an invite-only conference. There are some people on this call that have been invited. It's for state level and community level leaders on how to increase family leadership within your programs. The team has also been hard at work on a family leadership toolkit. This toolkit will be unveiled at the March conference. It's really exciting. And it provides tips and pointers on how to build that family leadership into state systems. So it will be really exciting when it comes out. The ESS team and Parent to Parent will be hosting an annual Lifting Families' Voices workshop. It's going to be in May in Western Pennsylvania. So it's a 1-day workshop. We're currently finalizing the venue and the exact date. So we will make sure to push that out to you through NETA when we have all of that information. And the workshop is to help families build their story in order to share it with leadership to help improve the system in which they're working with. So it's designed for pregnant and parenting families of children birth to 5, and they're receiving any maternal or early childhood service in Pennsylvania. So it doesn't have to be just EI or just family supports, any maternal service they can be eligible for. It's open to families from across from the Commonwealth. We have had a lot of families from Western PA participating in things, so that's why traditionally this has been in Harrisburg, and we decided Western PA for this one this year, just because we have had a lot of families participating. So we wanted to have one kind of nearby them as much as we could. And it's the workshop is to help them share their story, to help guide decision making and drive meaningful transformation of our maternal and early childhood systems. So the family leaders will be providing lodging, travel, so they'll be reimbursed for lodging and travel, and they will, I'm sorry, I lost my place. Sadia provides me with talking points, and she's amazing, but they're long, so I've lost where I am. So if you have any questions on this, you can reach out to Sadia Batul directly. Her email is c-sabatul@pa.gov. And I will also put that in the chat as soon as I'm done talking. The ECCS team is also working on neonatal abstinence syndrome journey mapping. So this is a project that our ECCS lead, Christina Harris, is taking on. It's related to the ECCS strategic plan, and it's to support referrals to early intervention when a child has neonatal abstinence syndrome. It's just so the purpose of the journey map is to support caregivers in highlighting the experiences, actions, and mindsets to create a map of their journey throughout the different phases of NAS diagnosis and then referral to early intervention. So it's supposed to be a resource for both providers and families to highlight best practices and share the insights of the families. It's not, when the journey map is done, it's not going to be a how-to guide. That's not the point. The point is to share the family's insight on their journey from that diagnosis through to referral to early intervention to help other families and also the people who work with the families to maybe have a little bit of a smoother journey. So that's the purpose of the journey mapping. So that is everything I have with ECCS. Our next update is that the Bureau of Early Intervention Services and Family Supports has will come out soon with a positive behavior support and restraint procedures announcement. That announcement was in public comment that ended on January 19th. The public comment was sent out to our subcommittee and maybe the whole SACnet, I don't recall. But we did get some comments and we are currently reviewing those comments, and the announcement will be issued in the near future, and we'll be sure to let everyone know it when it is. But the announcement is pertinent to the rules in Chapter 14 with early intervention for preschool. Those are their regulations and around how they should report restraints if they happen, and also around providing positive behavioral supports. But most of the focus is around restraint reporting procedures to our Bureau. Some things that the Physical Behavioral Mental Health Subcommittee has been working on. We get updates from our ECCS team almost every meeting about what's going on, so everyone is well informed. We had an overview of the early childhood educational linkage system. The vast majority of the work we do is on mental and behavioral health, because that is top of mind to most of our subcommittee. That's kind of what they're embroiled in right now. But we are the Physical Behavioral Mental Health Subcommittee. So ECELS is for physical health. So we talked the subcommittee through that system so that they can use it for anyone that is experiencing physical health issues and they have questions and concerns. We shared the child care CD 51 form. Amy Lynch from our subcommittee, she's with Temple University, and she shared her work around promoting relationships and emotional regulation for permanency and stability in schools, or PREPS, and trauma-informed practice in school support, or TIPS. She is really amazing. The subcommittee was really engaged and excited to learn about these programs. So we'll probably have more from Amy as she just joined our subcommittee recently. We're having an ongoing discussion on supporting All Learners to Thrive report, and with OMSA's Children's Behavioral Health, we're having a facilitated discussion with them. So these were things we started in December, and they generated so much conversation that we didn't get through either one of them. So they're ongoing because we're going to have them also on our agenda in February, and maybe on other agendas as well. We'll see how far we get. And then we also attempted to have work groups this year outside of our subcommittee meetings. Didn't go well. It was hard to find a time that worked for everyone where, everyone's so busy. We didn't have a ton of engagement and participation. So we're kind of, Brittany, Netta, and I are kind of going back to the drawing board to see if maybe we need to restructure the subcommittee meetings we have that are on everyone's calendar to support more of that work. So we will get that figured out. But that's something we're working on right now. And
Awesome.
I think that's everything. Thanks, Netta.
Great job. Thanks, Stacy. Next up is professional development. Christy and Barry are going to walk us through that update.
Hey, thanks, Netta. Good afternoon, everyone. So the Professional Development Subcommittee focuses on strengthening the ECE workforce by promoting access to high-quality training, education, and career advancement opportunities. This subcommittee plays a critical role in ensuring that early childhood professionals are equipped with the knowledge, skills, and resources needed to provide exceptional care and education to young children, identifying barriers, and providing solutions within the professional development systems. So we actually broke up into two separate work groups. So I'll give the update for the unmet need work group, and then Barry will give the updates for the other work group. So specifically, the unmet need work group has been focusing on over the past year, we've really been focused on examining how well Pennsylvania's OCDEL funded professional learning system is meeting workforce needs. Also, where structural gaps, access barriers, and data limitations are constraining impact. And our recommendations, we have several of them here bulleted. So our first recommendation is to have uniform data collection, also having teach data added to the PD registry. We want to increase the application completion rate, have greater support for prospective pre-K counts teachers, and expand the income eligibility.
All right, so I'm gonna provide an update on the ongoing PD work group. So our work group was focused on strengthening Pennsylvania's professional learning systems by addressing gaps in access and capacity. So we actually put out a survey last year at the OCDEL conference, as well as the PA Pre-K Counts and HISAP grantee gathering, to gather some data on trainings that are available in the PD registry and identifying if there are gaps in how many trainings are offered and if there were gaps in what content is being offered regularly. So we kind of took the feedback from that, and we started looking at growing the number of PQuas approved instructors that are in the PD registry that are offering courses, especially in rural, high need, and specialized areas. Making sure that the PD registry is encompassing for those who need that ongoing PD, to make sure they have access to that training that they need on an ongoing basis. So our work group over the past year worked to put together some recommendations that have been shared with OCDEL leadership, that have been passed along to a current PQuas work group, to be prioritized, so that we can move these recommendations forward in some capacity. So some of the recommendations we made were putting together expanding the pool of PQAS instructors by having kind of a mentorship approach, finding some of our stronger PQAS instructors that have been offering trainings for a while, and having a mentorship program where we put an opportunity out there to bring in new PQAS instructors and have them mentored along the way to create their module, to apply within the registry system, to kind of take them through step by step to help them become a PQAS certified instructor. And then part of that is once they go through that mentorship program, they're agreeing to provide PD within the PD registry, right, to increase those PD opportunities that are available. We also looked at where some training was lacking in the PD registry. So one of the recommendations is that they have to deliver PD in one of those high need areas that we noticed not a lot of PD available in the PD registry. So those recommendations have moved forward to OCDEL leadership and are being prioritized. And then as we go forward, looking ahead, our work group, our last meeting, as a subcommittee, kind of looked at, okay, we now had these two recommendations for our two work groups. So now we're looking at how our subcommittee moves forward. So we're looking at eliminating barriers for STAR 1 and 2 programs participating. In Learn and Earn and Teach. We have a statewide onboarding initiative that we're looking at to make sure that staff in the field are receiving the required trainings and everything needed as a new staff member in a childcare facility. We're looking at the CDA process burden and what that is like for our providers and our teachers in the ECE field. And we are also continuing advocating for registered apprenticeship for ECE, which is something we have been working on this whole time as well. We keep finding some barriers, so looking at ways to move forward and advocating for that.
Awesome. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Christy. And our fifth and final subcommittee, Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, and Belonging. And Corey is here to speak to this subcommittee.
You can go ahead and move forward. Carol's out of town this week, so I'll be jumping in. And so our subcommittee is charged with producing we are choosing to produce concrete, tangible policy and process recommendations and steps that can be taken to reach those policy changes, to eliminate disparities for marginalized groups, namely children, families, and the ECE workforce, using a body of evidence-based knowledge informed by experts around the best practices regarding DEIB. And we can jump, oh, perfect. So we've had two, or I should say four primary projects that we've been working on. The first, if you look on the left-hand side, we have completed a survey, a provider-facing survey, a family-facing survey. They've been on hold since our last meeting. And then our second, our other sort of fork on that side is to really do some analysis from the registry to identify missing pieces in those DEIB focused trainings. That analysis is ready to go. We're hoping to sort of put both together so that we can get a better idea of what areas may be needed to bolster the professional development that is available at this point. Our other area is really looking at, well, I'm jumping ahead. So the goal here is then to align the mission of DEIB subcommittee with OCDEL's plan to embed DEIB into policy, practice, and communication. That'll be our final or our next goal, but at this point, our major focus right now is looking at the process for new subcommittee members. And let's just jump to the next slide. What we've done is we've completed the analysis of the demographic analysis of current subcommittee members. We looked at regional location, gender, race, ethnicity, and language fluency other than English, and then finally their role in ECE. I should say your role in ECE. You can see here what we found, and of course there's always a push to get more group and home-based providers involved. But at this point, if we combine all of our providers, about 44% of our subcommittee members are either current or recently retired providers. So that at least feels a little better. And if you remember taking the survey, I'll just say this quickly. Well, one of the things that we had to do with the roles is we had to create a simplified set of role categories. So you'll see that some of them have been combined into a larger category. Partly that was because we were seeing maybe one person representing one piece of, we'll say, health, human services, mental and behavioral health. So we kind of pulled them all together. So we did do that. You can see our breakdown. What we did is we looked at some benchmarks, some existing benchmarks out there, to identify where we may be lacking in participation. And so those two benchmarks that we used, one was the population demographics from the US Census, and then the other was demographics from ECE Field based on the data in the registry. And basically the process, the way the plan is at this point is that we've done the demographic analysis and identified some areas of need for different committees. But the plan is then for NETA to really work with individual subcommittees to identify some specific needs and specifically for some representation based on both the alignment of the applicant's interest and their role in early childhood and education, aligning those with the subcommittee's goals and current initiatives. So that's really our aim here. And then we have our timeline. This is our process. We have a lot to do before the applications open in July of this year. But the aim is to have some targeted and general marketing. The targeted marketing it will focus a little bit on the demographics that we've identified as needing some more representation. There is already some general marketing in the works, I believe. We will be revising the pre-application document just to edit it a bit around the role question specifically. And then Ned will be working with subcommittees to identify their specific needs based on that analysis, but also some of their goals and current initiatives. We need to revise the scoring rubric to reflect those subcommittees' specific areas of needed representation. And then finally, we need to identify the selection committee, kind of a bigger piece there. And then we do plan to have that application open tentatively, at least at this point, starting in July through September. We have another slide, Netta?
Nope, that's it. Well done.
All righty.
So
thank
those are, yep, thank you. Those are the updates from this 5 subcommittees. If there are questions or suggestions, we definitely want to hear them. You can add to the chat or you can email myself or any of the co-chairs. I'm going to move along since we're falling behind on time a bit. And I'm passing it to Nia to talk about childcare staff recruitment and retention.
Thank you, Netta. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm here just to talk to you a little bit more about the child care staff recruitment and retention grants that are currently active for providers and give you a little bit extra detail on what some of our requirements are. So to be a qualified child care provider and receive the child care staff recruitment and retention grant, you have to be a DHS certified child care provider and a certified by DHS in a child care center, group, or family care home, and hold a current regular certificate of compliance. You have to be currently in operation serving children and family. You must hold a current CCW certified provider agreement with DHS/OCDEL. You cannot have an open referral to the Office of Attorney General or an ongoing repayment plan with an ELRC for any previous OCDEL grants and awards. And you have to have completed all reporting on all previous OCDEL grants and awards. And you cannot currently own any liens or liability for the Commonwealth. I know I started saying that a little bit fast, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to come off mute or put them in the chat. I'm ready for the next slide. All right, so to be a qualified staff person and receive the funding for this grant, you have to be an employee of a qualified child care center who is responsible for the direct supervision of children at a minimum of 15 hours per week at the physical child care program location. You also, as employee, and to also remain qualified through the application period, you also must be employed at the time of application and at the time of payment for at the ELRC. So if we have employees who stop working in the interim between application and payment, they are no longer eligible. Oh, and we also have this note, owner operators. Oh, I'm sorry, owner operators. Can you go back one slide? Owner-operators of a qualified child care provider are considered eligible to receive a retention bonus if they directly supervise children a minimum of 15 hours a week. All right, I'm ready now. All right, and this is some of the requirements that came directly from the legislation. All right, again, you have to be a certified child care provider by the department and have an active certification from our Bureau of Certification Services. You have to be in operation the date of your signed application and at the time of ELRC payment. You have to have a child care subsidy agreement with the department. And of course, you can do providers who are under investigation of fraud, subject to a Commonwealth lien, or has had their certificate of compliance revoked, denied, or not reviewed by our office, by our Bureau for Certification, are not eligible. Qualified staff, and this is the qualified staff that comes directly from legislation, is an employee of a qualified child care provider who directly supervises children, an operator of a family child care home who directly supervises children, and those employees of child care facilities who do not directly supervise children are not eligible. So executives, owners, janitorial staff, food service staff, or administrative or support staff. And then just to give you some highlights on where we currently are with the child care and retention process, we are still in that open and active application period. Providers are still submitting applications to the ELRCs. The last day for providers to submit applications is this upcoming Thursday, January 29th. After that, providers should start to expect to see payments from the ELRCs around February 16th. And I will pause if anybody has any questions about the initiatives or the application process.
Any questions, anyone? I don't want to cut anyone off. You can also use the chat. Thank you so much, Nia.
No problem. Thank you, Dada.
All right, so I'm going to jump around on the agenda. So I appreciate your flexibility. Louisa is going to present on the career pathway update, the Action Research Partnership at the end of today, if we have time. Otherwise, she's going to follow up with information via email, and I will also share the web page for that project.
I'll put the link in the chat, Netta. Thank you.
Oh yeah, perfect. Thank you. And Tony, just give you a little heads up. I'm going to jump to the workforce ad campaign. So if you want to pull that clip.
Okay. All right.
That's
Wonderful.
where we're going to land. And Colin is out today, but Tony offered to step in. And Colin is also going to follow up with some more information about the PD-funded workforce ad campaign. But we didn't want to take it off the agenda because we were so excited to show this clip. But just know that there's more information coming that will come out with the notes when I send them. So ready when you are, Tony?
Okay, so I have a few notes from Colin. So this campaign was funded by the Preschool Development Grant. The campaign was written into the PDG grant application as a research campaign because we wanted to make sure we understood exactly what the field needed. We worked with JPL agency to conduct research, which would inform the campaign strategy. We conducted focus groups and interviews with families, providers, the workforce, and subject matter experts, professors. Essentially, the field feels underappreciated and undervalued. Providers sought marketing efforts to shift perceptions of the industry. ECE educators are not babysitters and are real professional educators. Providers worry about the perception that staff just play with kids and early childhood education isn't necessary. We learn that parents don't really understand how important development in children's ages 0 to 5 is and don't view ECE educators at the same level of respect as K-12 educators. So for the strategy, providers don't want an enrollment campaign and explicitly said that in almost every conversation we had. Our goals are to elevate early child care education as the most critical stage of child development and position ECE educators as essential professionals whose skills and knowledge should be highly respected and valued. I think we can all agree, and I think you're going to love the ad that I'm going to play. In just a second, let me get it up and working so we can all hear. So sorry, I was doing the notes, so I had all my notey things up. Okay, let's get the ad up. Eek, so we have a couple of things. I don't know if I'm supposed to show everything, but we're just going to review this first one here. So I hope you're really excited to see the rest whenever it's all revealed. I'm going to play it and just let me know if you can't hear it, Netta. And
Yep, sure will.
We'll see about the speakers.
No sound yet.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing for a second so then I can change audio.
No sound.
No sound. Let's see.
Sometimes when you share on Zoom, there's a button you have to hit to make sure it shares the sound.
Okay. Do we know where that button could maybe exist?
When you go to share,
let's see here.
Look at the top of the dialog box.
And Zoom just, okay. I got it. Found it. Thank you for that tip. Zoom just
Perfect. Thank you.
changed up a whole bunch of things. So let's see now. Okay.
Early childhood is a magical time of wonder. But it's also a critical period for brain growth and social skills. That's why early childhood education is so important. These programs support math and literacy skills and foster emotional development. And it all starts with dedicated educators who nurture children and lay the foundation for lifelong success. Now that really is magical. Discover how early childhood education changes lives for the better.
Tony, you did it.
Woohoo! I hope you all loved it. I'm getting lots of hearts.
Yes. And thank you for filling in. That's not an easy task.
Any questions? I'm happy to take them back to Colin, but I don't want to answer anything that we don't know for sure. But if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat.
Yes, and more information to come on how you can help share these messages and where they'll be at, but they will be launched, I believe, February 1st. All right. Tony, can you see my slides now?
Yes.
Perfect.
I have a
We'll
question,
see who's
Meta. I'm
next.
so sorry for the
Oh,
workforce.
please, Damaris,
I'm,
please.
I'm just trying to understand. So you're going to launch this on February 1st. Is there a specific website? So let's say I'm looking at this and I'm like, woo, I want to be one of those educators. So how do I get there? Like, where do I go
Exactly.
from that?
And Colin had a wonderful presentation scheduled. There is a landing page. There is a web page. It's beautiful. It's very similar to the clip you just saw, but he's out today. So the information is going to come as follow-up. But
No
yes,
problem.
there will
Thank
be a
you.
landing page with a step-by-step guide, and it's amazing. Thank you. All right, Brandy, if you're ready, RRT is next.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be here. Just wanted to acknowledge for the SAC that the rapid response grantees, there are 19 of them. All of those 19 grantees accepted a funding extension for preschool development grant funding through this year. So I just wanted to let you know that there is a rapid response team in every ELRC region moving into this year. And that was my part of the update. And I didn't know if Carolyn or someone from
Yep, that's
Australia.
right. Carolyn
Yes.
is also, we've got a lot of people out today, but Shantae is going to just quickly explain the funding part of the question on the screen related to RRT and PDG funding.
So there was a question, there's a question on the screen around why the rapid response grants were ending and then given an extension. The preschool development block grant funding that we received is actually scheduled to end this year. We were able to, due to the budget impasse, it is only due to the budget impasse, we were able to extend additional funding to our rapid response teams to be able to do some closeout activities. But it is only through the extended budget impasse that we were able to offer those additional dollars. Pennsylvania was not awarded a new preschool development block grant. So this is actually us ending all of our PDG work that is embedded in the 3-year renewable grant that we received in 2022. So I hope we answered that question around why you all were given an additional extension, but it was only because we were not able to do some of the additional activities due to the budget impasse.
Thank you, Shantae. Any other questions around RRT? Feel free to come off mute or add to the chat or follow up with us with an email. I believe that Tracy Duarte is here. She's going to give us an abridged version of what she had prepared to present on with her Thrive grant. And then she's going to follow up with the information with our meeting minutes afterwards.
Sure. Good afternoon,
Thanks, Trace.
everyone. Yep, thanks, Netta. Do you want to throw the slide? Okay. Just very briefly want to share that a group of organizations partnered, came together under the umbrella of the OCDEL McKinney-Vento advisory group to apply for this Thrive from the Start prenatal to 3 homeless and housing state capacity building initiative grant. Go ahead and change slide, please. The Thrive from the Start is made up of these national partners. There were 43 states that applied. 10 states, including Pennsylvania, were awarded these grants of $100,000 funded by the Pritzker Initiative. Go ahead and change slide, Hedda. I won't read this to you, but it's basically a state capacity building grant rather than services to be provided to families. We're just going to do some work in Pennsylvania. And go ahead, one more slide, Netta, and that should wrap it up. Oh, no, I'm sorry. These are the partners that came together. The Collaboration Office, the Susquehanna Educational Foundation is the grantee that will be managing the fiscal piece, Pennsylvania Partnerships for Children, Maternity Care Coalition, Trying Together, and Hopeful out of Philadelphia. And again, I just want to state that all of these came together under the umbrella of an advisory group to OCDEL. Okay, last slide, Netta. And these are the main activities that we are going to do in Pennsylvania to build capacity to better serve the prenatal through 3 population of children and families either experiencing homelessness or have unstable housing. And then on the next slide, I believe are resources that you can go to find all sorts of additional information if you're interested, or if you have questions, you can reach out to me at that email. Thanks, Netta.
Thank you. All right. Marnie is up next.
Thanks, Netta. Hi, everybody. Just a quick update from me. If you don't know me, I'm the director at the Pennsylvania Key. And I just wanted to update you on some of this came from the PD subcommittee from SAC. And then there also came some recommendations from a group of providers who met with the First Lady and Code PA to determine some things that would be beneficial in the registry. But we got your feedback from the PD subcommittee, and we also from some experiences and some one-off situations that are happening around PQAS and PQAS approvals. We have a list, 4 items basically that we want to address. And we're doing so with a group from, we put together a committee of OCDEL policy and PD staff, PA Key Registry and Workforce Department staff, and EITA staff to help address these 4 areas. We had a request from the field to be able to easily access PQAS credit for EI courses, so we're working on that. And then we'll start to work on some of the SAC PD subcommittee recommendations around PQAS. We're also looking into the specialty discipline. It used to be called specialty discipline. It sort of went away a couple administrations ago, and we're revisiting that and seeing how we can address that. And then the director credential requirements and the processes for that are, we know, arduous, and looking to see if we can streamline that for providers as well. So we'll keep you up to date on our progress. And if you have any questions, just let me know.
Thank you so much. Ruby, if you're ready, we have certification next.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year to the SAC folks. Happy to see you. A really quick update on the impact project. We have completed our revisions and rewrites of the regulations. They'll be going into executive review by Monday of next week. So very excited about that. I wanted to give you all a little bit of an update on our training for our certification team. We have secured a location at the PA Key building, and that location is on the 3rd floor, and we've done a couple mock classrooms. Sorry, my dogs are very rambunctious about people shoveling, if you can hear them. I apologize. Anyway, so the 3rd floor of the PA Key building now houses some mock classrooms that will be used for training for all the bureaus, but especially our certification team. As new team members begin working for us, they'll come in for orientation training centralized, so that some of those inconsistencies that we're getting across the state will be eliminated. We're super proud of this, and we will begin with a pilot of the orientation training that we're developing in February and April of this year, part 1 and part 2. So we'll begin serving new certification team members with orientation training beginning in the fall of this year. Happy about that. And one more really exciting update. We have recently met with the Department of Health, and they have approved our thought about a new health assessment form that might take the onus of all the immunization tracking off of directors in childcare. So this new health assessment form has an attestation signature line for the pediatrician and or health professional to sign, saying that the child has all necessary immunizations to attend a childcare facility, and will add any exemptions that are medical to that form. So this will keep the directors from having to review every immunization. Our team will just do a really quick sampling when we go out, and Department of Health will be still doing their annual survey, but it'll be modified. So I'm very excited about this, and this will be coming out in about 2 months with a new announcement and the health assessment form. Something to look forward to, but not yet in practice. So just wanted to let the SAC folks know. Any questions at all? No, Diane, it will not.
Rube, I don't have a question, but I do want to know, I'm sorry, my camera's not on.
No, it's okay.
That this is a perfect example of that feedback and collaboration that we have been talking about. I know that this predates both Ruby and myself as a total issue, but this was something that I know the team was really committed to making some changes to. So kudos to the team and kudos to the collaboration with both CERT and DOH. I'll be quiet because I know we're running out of time.
No, it's super easy solve too, and I'm so glad that we were able to get DOH to climb on board. They didn't even have any questions. They were very excited for us. So I'm happy to announce that will be coming very soon. And that's it for my updates. Thanks, Netta.
Ruby, just one question in the chat when you have a chance to see that.
All health forms. Yep, it should be for school age as well. Let me double check that, but I'm pretty sure it'll be for all health forms.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you, Ruby. All right, Kim Road, I believe you're next.
All right.
She's here. Oh, there you are.
Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. I just have a few updates for the Bureau of Early Intervention Services and Family Support. First, we had some preschool EI funding in response to continued concerns that have been raised about supporting challenging behaviors. We, in partnership with EITA, announced a funding opportunity designed to strengthen the capacity of preschool early intervention programs to support children engaging in persistent challenging behaviors. It prioritizes evidence-based practices, and through the agreement, eligible OCDEL-funded preschool EI programs were able to apply for $10,000 in funding to implement targeted activities aligned with positive behavior supports. And it focuses on two critical components of positive behavior supports policies, including conducting functional behavior assessments and developing individualized positive behavior support plans. Programs are going to utilize the Prevent, Teach, Reinforce for Young Children model, which is a collaborative team-based approach that includes families and educators to guide individualized behavior support. Applications for this funding were due on Friday, and we had 15 programs that applied. So almost half of our programs have applied for the funding. So we're really excited about that. And the funding period is from February 1st through June 30th of this year. Dr. Kenny already talked about the positive behavior supports announcement, so I'm not going to talk about that one. We're still back on the previous slide, Netta. Our early intervention family survey has been out for a couple of weeks now, and our current response rate is slightly lower overall than last year. But we do have several programs that are already at or above a 10% response rate. So we are seeing a slight increase in responses for infant toddler programs and slightly lower response rates for our preschool programs compared to last year, but still lots of time to get all of those in. So we will continue to encourage our programs to push those out to families. Our 2026 determinations are being issued this month to each infant, toddler, and preschool EI program as required by the Office of Special Education Programs. The criteria for those determinations, the determination level is either meets requirements, needs assistance, needs intervention, or needs substantial intervention. Our determination survey summary is very robust, and it includes compliance data, family survey results, complaint data, educational environment, and child progress. Programs that receive a determination level below meets requirements will have to develop a quality enhancement plan and engage in activities to address those needs. And our Bureau EI advisors are responsible for reviewing and approving the quality enhancement plans for their assigned programs, for monitoring their data, and validating the QEP activities. The infant toddler EI fee schedule. I know everyone is anxious for this to come out. We are working to implement the rate increase for our providers. We were really hoping to get it out this month. It is currently in routing, and so as soon as it is done being reviewed, we will get that information out. The new rates will be retroactive to July 1st, 2025. And information about anything that the providers need to do related to receiving those retroactive payments should be available with the fee schedule announcement or shortly thereafter. We're really hoping to find a way to reduce the administrative burden of resubmitting all of those claims, so stay tuned. And now the announcements. Next slide, Netta. Our first announcement of 2026 is making obsolete EI 07-12, which was the PA pre-K counts and early intervention working together announcement. It doesn't change the current practice as it says on the slide because the information from the announcement is embedded in our service delivery model of coaching, and the content is incorporated into the pre-K counts regulations as listed there. And our next announcement is EI 2602, again, making obsolete announcement EI 09-19. And we were able to eliminate that announcement because we're going to utilize PDE's BEC or Basic Education Circular, and all of the forms that go with that announcement are attached to the BEC. And last but not least, we have our Children's Trust Fund request for applications is currently open on the PAE Marketplace. Applications are due February 5th. We've been excited about some of the questions coming in from a variety of different possible programs asking, like school districts and other programs interested in the funding. So we're really excited and hopeful that we'll get some more applicants for this grant for this year. I think that's all I got, Netta.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions for Dr. Rode? You can come off mute or add to the chat. All right.
All right. Well, this brings us to our opportunity to ask questions related to the contents of our meeting today, or if you have any other questions related to OCDEL, through what's been going through your mind as we listen to these presentations today and so much great information. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask?
No questions, no comments, any suggestions?
Netta, we must have really been thorough and covered it all.
Apparently.
Great meeting today. And you said, Netta, there's one more thing coming out that will be sent via email?
Yes, yeah, we're going to follow up with Luisa's information about the career pathway redesign. Aaron's excited about the PQAS changes. Awesome.
Okay, excellent.
And Diane thinks everyone's frozen, literally
Okay.
frozen.
I mean, it is pretty cold and it's getting colder tomorrow, so ready. Schools in my area are already shutting for tomorrow. So we have some meetings coming up. The next meeting is April 27th. It will certainly be warmer then. And then following that, July 27th, even warmer then. And then our last meeting for 2026 is October 26th. So I look forward to seeing everyone in April.
Leah, I'm sorry. I did see a question from Diane. I didn't want her to think that we were ignoring the question. It's what
I didn't see it. Thanks so much.
It's okay. What impact will the federal changes on immunization requirements have on PA's requirements? Currently, there are no changes to the Pennsylvania requirements. We are still noting ACIB as the required, I guess, vaccination schedule. And if there's any changes, we will certainly communicate them either regulatory or through a policy announcement.
And that's a very important and good question. Thank you, Diane. All right, Netta, I think it looks like we're giving folks back 7 minutes of their day. Oh, wait, Damaris has a question as well.
Nope, but I could talk in 5 minutes to see if we can give them back in 2 minutes of the day. Something that was not mentioned in this meeting is the impact of ICE in our communities and child care centers and so on and so forth. Is there anything coming from OCDEL and how to support or toolkits for childcare programs with families, children, and also staff, because that's also going to, if it has been impacting programs, but I'm afraid it's going to impact it a little bit more, with the staffing.
So, Damaris, that's a very good question, but that goes back to the first slide that I created. We would actually have to take direction from the Gov's office and the larger state of Pennsylvania. We would not be able to issue guidance as a program office.
Understood.
So part of the reason why we have been very quiet about it is because right now we would be leaning on the same things that we've always leaned on, understanding that there might be a need for additional guidance. I would encourage people to reach out to their local legislators about what is happening. But we would not be able to issue solo guidance.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you, Shanti.
And Damaris, I know I attended, I don't know if it was CPAC or LEJ, but a great presentation that I saw from the Ed Law Department.
Yeah.
Was it
Yeah.
LEJ?
From Margie. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was from LEJ.
Because the other way that the State Advisory Council can be used is you all can talk to each other and share those resources with each other.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thanks for bringing that up. All right, Leah, you want to try again?
All right. If there are no other questions, we are adjourned for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending. We really appreciate your time and focus for the 90 minutes we've been together. We will see you in a few months.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.